So let's move to the src folder. So here inside src, let's create another one. Let's call it stores. And inside this folder, let's create user auth store. And first, let's define, or let's export const use auth store, and we use the define it's define store. Don't forget to import it from Penia. You don't need to use the comma. And I think that I have said the virgule before. The virgule is in French, so I was just confused. So it's comma. And we give it a name. Let's name it auth. And here we have the first thing. It's states. And states will return an object. This object contains the user, and for now we give it null, which is the currently logged in user, and the current token that we will get later. For now it's an empty string, or we can give it, because it will be stored inside the local storage, we can bring it from the local storage, and we get the item, which is the, so here I forgot to get the item, which is the current item, not current item, but current token. And if it doesn't exist, we can provide only an empty string. And also we need errors to handle if we have any errors, and for now it's null. So next we need so we have the getters. We will not work with getters, we need actions. So for the actions we will have the first one, which is set. So let's name it set current user, which is the currently logged in user. This one will take the user and update the user. So we use this to update the user. Next, we need to set the current token. And here we received token. And we update the token. Current token, it will take the token. So what else we have? We have if we have any errors, so we need to set the errors also, and we give them the errors. So errors will take the errors, not these errors, but errors. So I need to add here errors, so not console but errors. And let's remove this. Now we have the errors. What else we need? We need to clear the stored data. So if the user is logged out, we need to clear stored data, and we will only remove the item, which is current token. And what else we need? We need to also set the token. So the current token will be set to an empty string, and the current, so not the current but the user, to a null. So what else we need? We need to clear the errors. So if the user, if we have any errors, we need to clear next when the user try to log in again. If the user try to log in and he gets validation errors, we will store them here. And if he try to log in again, so we need to clear the errors. So to do that, we need another action. Let's name it clear errors. And this function will set the errors to null. So this is all that we need for the use of store, but we will use it inside the routes that we have already defined here. So to check if the user is logged in or not. So to do that, first thing that we need to do is we need to get or to create a variable, and we give it the use of store, and don't forget to import it here. So once we have the variable, so we can check for the store dot current token. So if we have the current token, that means that the user, or if we don't have, so here we check if he is logged in. So if we don't have current token, that means that the user is not logged in. So we will redirect him to the login. So here it's return login, and here we use the opposite. Check if the user is not. So check if the user is not logged in, but I think that we can use this one here, and here if logged in we can use this one. So if he is logged in, we can return him to, if the user is logged in, so we'll return him to the home page, and if he is not logged in, we will redirect him to the login page if he is not logged in. And here we use the check if user is not logged in. So this one, if he is not logged in, we will return him to the login, and here check if he is logged in. So if he is logged in, then we will return him to the home page. So that's all for the routes. All we need now to do is to import the routes. So I think that we have something here. So we have here, as you can see, it creates Penia, but we did not use it. As you can see, we need to use it. So let's add another variable here. So I missed this one. So let's name it Penia, because as you can see here, we have Penia and we did not define the variable. So it will be creates Penia. That's all. So creates Penia. And also we need to use also the router. So let's use the routes, and here we put use router, and don't forget to import it here. So now we can use the routes. Let's go back here to the app, and here we will add the, so for now let's add just the router view inside the template here. Let's add the router view. So the router view, and later we will add the header which will contains, or which will contain the navigation menu. So let's try to start server. I think that we did not start the backend server, so let's do that now. So here let's start the server, and also here same thing, npm run div. So let's see here, it's already started, and let's take a look here. So now it's done. Let's move. Or I think that we have already server here. So let's close the old one and see what we have here. So as you can see, we have now nothing. If we inspect and see if we have any errors, let's move to the console. So here I have an error. The home is not defined because I forgot. So here I forgot to import the component. So let's import the component, import home from, so I think it's inside component slash home dot view. And what else we have? We have login, and login is inside auth slash login. And what else we have? The registration inside the auth also, and the register. So let's use it here. Now if we refresh, I think we don't have any error now. So let's see, I am redirected, as you can see, to the login page because I am not logged in. That's why I am redirected to the login. So here we can add div just to be sure that everything is working. So I think that the emit is not working. So let's add here login for now and see what we have here. So as you can see, we have login. So let's try to let's try first to add the header, which will contain the nav or the navigation menu, and later we will add the login and the registration pages. So let's add here inside the components. Let's add another folder calling it layouts, and here add the header components, the header.view, and bring the view. So let's add, so we will use Bootstrap for adding navbar. So once you are in the Bootstrap websites, you can move down and look for navbar, this one, and let's bring it from here. Let's copy this one and put it here. And we need to organize the code. So let's organize the code. Let's organize the code. So here, so we will, so here we need to change this one to router link. It will take us to home page. Let's add here view and Laravel login system. And what else we have here? We have the home page. Let's change this one also to the router link, and it will take us to the home page. And here we have the home. Let's add icon. Icon will be bi house. And what else we have here? So let's bring this one and put it here. This one will be for the login, and login, I think that they have person fill, I think fill up. If it's not the correct one, we will change it. So here we have the login, and I think we don't have the drop down, and also the form, so we don't need the form. So what else we have here? Let's organize the code. So let's move this one here. And what else we have? We have another one for the registration. So let's bring here register, and the register, I think we have person add. Now we have the header, so we need to add it here. So let's add the header. So let's move this one here and add the header. So the header, and we need to import it. So let's import the header from, so not down but inside same, so it's inside the header. So let's take a look and see what we have here. As you can see, we have the home page, login, and registration. So but when we click on this one, we don't move to, so let's check if we have any error. We don't have any error here. I think that we have something wrong. When we click on the home page or login or the registration, we are not moving between the pages. So let's check and see what is the problem. So I think we don't have anything here. So let's add div, put here register, and here home, and let's if we move to the register home, nothing happens. So let's refresh the page. Now we are even if we click here, so we are not redirected. So the home, we cannot move to the home. We can check it here. If we remove these ones, let's remove just to check if there is something wrong here. Let's remove these ones and these ones. So let's save and see what we have here. So now we are in the login page. Let's move to the registration. Let's move. Now I am in the home. It's working. I am login, but the registration doesn't work. I think that I did not change the two. So here the two is, I think it's in the same. It's taking me to the login, and this is a problem. So now it will work. If we click here, we are in the registration page. Now we are in the home page. So let's bring back functions that we had already here. And let's close the store. We don't need it now. What else here? We don't need this one. And also the main, we don't need it for now. So as you can see, now we can move between the pages, but the home page, we need to be logged in. So let's try to add the login form first. So here we have login form, and I think we already have here, if you go to the bootstrap here, so here the forms, we have already an overview of the forms, and we have already form here. So let's bring this form and we will use it for login users. So let's bring it, or first let's add registration first. Login, we will use it, or we will add it later. So first let's create div with a class container, and div with a class of row, margin top and bottom of 5, and div with call md6, and margin left and right auto, and add, or let's add div with a card bg. Let's give it bg white, and here add h5 with a text center and margin top of 2, and here register. So let's put the register. Let's take a look and see, and as you can see, now we have the register. Next we need to add the form. So let's add a div with a card body, and the card body, and inside let's add the form. So this is the form. Let's organize the code. So what we have here, we have the email, so we'll need the email, and also we need the name. So let's add name. Let's bring this one here, and inputs will be for name, and type will be text. And here let's add name, and add star to tell the user that these fields are required. And also the password is required, and we don't need a checkbox. Let's remove it. And what else we have here? Form is here. So here we have the inputs that we need. So this one is, let's rename this one to email. And what else we have here? This one to password. And let's take a look. As you can see, we have here the form, but the form is inside the card body. What is the problem here? So we have the card, and I think that the card body is outside of the card. So we need to move it here. But the card here, let's add another div for the card header, and give it bg white, and inside put the h5. So if we save now, let's take a look. Now everything is working as we want. Now let's move to the index, just to add not the index.js but index.html. Close this one. So here let's add a view and Laravel login system, and here let's add a class. So the class will be bg light. If we go back here, so as you can see now the title has changed, and now it's better than the previous one. So we can now submit. So let's remove this div, this one, so we don't need it. So next we need to add the variables that will hold name, and what else we need? Name and the email and the password. So we'll use the composition API. Let's remove this one, add here the setup, and inside define the data, which will be reactive, and the data will contain loading states, which will be false, and user will have name, what else, the email, and the password. And what else we need? We need to link the input to the values. So we need to use the model and link the username to the data user.name, and same thing for. So I made it inside the label. Sorry for this. So it needs to be inside input, not the label. And same thing here. So same thing here. We need to add the email and the password. Now we have the email and password. What else we need? So we have the username, the email, and the password. So what else we need? We need to. So I think I made it, and I made it inside level again. So sorry again for this error. So let's move it and put it here inside the input. So here it's inside input and here inside the input. So now we have linked the inputs to the user. We need to display or to register the user. So let's register a new user. Let's create the function, name it register user. This function will be async, and here we need to try. So before we try and catch, we need to use store. We did not create a store yet, so let's organize this one. Let's bring store. Use user auth store. So use auth. So what's the name of the user auth store? User auth store. So it's not imported. Let's import it manually. Import user. I think we did the export default or only exports it. So it's only exports. So let's use the curly braces. So use auth store from. So it's inside the stores auth store. So we have here auth store. What else we need? So we need to provide the extension of store.js. Now we have store, as we said. The first thing we need to do, if we have any errors, we need to clear the errors. We have already added the function or the action here, this one, which is clear errors. We need to use it. If we have any errors, we need to clear errors, and we need to set the data.loading to true, because now we are sending the data. What else? We need now to try and catch. So we try and catch. We have the response, and the response, we will wait for it, and we will use the Axios dot. So it's not imported. Okay, we will import it. Toast post. And it will take us to the link that we will add later, and it will take the user that we have added. And once we get the response, we set loading to false, and the response, we need to toast the notification, and to use the toast notification, we need also to define another variable here. This one, we call it toast, and we use toast. So we need to call hook, which is use toast. So it's not imported. Also, we need to import it. So let's import first Axios from Axios, and import the use toast from view toastification. Here you can find this in the docs. If you go to docs, you will find the code how to use the view toastification, and we need also to import the router, so we can redirect the user from. So it's inside the router. So without adding the index, because it will be imported automatically. What else we need now? So as I said, once we get data, we set load into false, and we need to toast or to display a toast notification. So it's success message, and we get the message that the account has been created. So we need to display the message, and we need to set the timeout. So the timeout of the toast notification will be 3 seconds. So that's for the success. So if we have any error, we need to set loading also to false and to check for the error. So if we have validation error, we will have an error dot response dot status. So we will have status code which is 422. So we will see that in action later. 422, and once we have these errors, which means that it's validation errors, we set the errors. We used store set errors, and we give it the error dot response dot errors dot data. So the validation errors will be inside error dot response dot data dot errors. Now we have the errors. If we don't have validation error, that's we need only to console and log the error. So that's it for this function. Now we need to use it, and to use it we need to move back to the form and add on submit, and on submit we need to call the function which is and use also the prevent to prevent the default behavior of the form, and use the function which is a register user. So now we can send the data, but before we send data, we need to define a base URL. So we will use the same URL inside the login page and the registration page. So to not repeat ourselves, let's define a base URL that we can use inside all our components. So inside src, let's add another folder, call it helpers. Inside this folder, let's add a new file, call it config.js, and here let's define the base URL, and base URL will be http, and it's the local host, so it will be 1/8000 and /API. So now we have the base URL, we will use it. So to use it, we need to add a backtick here and use the base URL, and it will take us to /user/register. We have already defined this route. So we need to import the base URL. So let's import it from so it's inside helpers config.js. So let's try. So let's see what we have here. So we have nothing. That means that we have an error. Here we have do not use store, do not provide an export named user use auth. So I think I made a mistake. So here it's auth. So auth use auth store. So the same thing here. I made a mistake. Sorry for this mistake. So let's see what we have now. If we refresh the page, so nothing appears. So the same thing here, same error. Let's go back. I think we have here. What is the problem? So export use auth store. So this is the one that we have. and we have already used it. What is the problem? So I think this is the one, and it's here, use, I think user, so it's use hotstar. So it's use hotstar. So I made silly mistake. What silly mistake? So let's see, refresh and see what we have now. So I think there is something else. So what is the problem? Resolve star use hotstar from the same problem. Why we have this problem? So let's come back here. So go back to stores, user store. So the name is user store, and this is the name of the file. And what I did name it, what the hell I did here, it's user hotstar, and let's use it same here, it's user hotstar. So just to fix this problem, it's user hotstar, and also inside index. So here, what is the name? So let's name it user hotstar and user hotstar and user hotstar, and don't try to define this variable outside here, so it won't work. So that's why I'm defining it inside function twice. So don't try to say if why we are doing this twice. We can do it once. So we need to define it inside the function. You can use one function and check if you can update this code and optimize the code and use one function. Try to find solution for this. So let's go back here. Now we have the form. If we submit, let's take a look and see what we have here. So as you can see, we have the code 422. This is the code that I have defined here. This one, if we have the status 422, if we open the code, as you can see, the error, as you can see, we have here the response and the response. So the error dot response dot status 422. This is the code or the test that we have here. So if we have this one, that means that we have validation errors. So we will add errors to the errors that we have, objects that we have already defined here. So the errors are inside error response data errors. If we go back here, we have the error, the response, and the data, and here we have the errors. And I think I have already installed the Vue DevTools. Let's check and see it. So if we go to Vue here and look inside the components, so we have the app. So as you can see, if we go to the registration components, you can see here where is, so it's inside the Penia. Where is Penia? So the Penia is not here. So where is Penia? So here, not Penia here. Let's find, where is Penia? It's not showing here. So we need to find the, so we need to find store inside the Penia. So here we have only the, so I will refresh the page and find the Penia store. It's not showing yet. So now we can see it. It's here, and I think it was here. I did not notice it. So I think it was here. I think it was here. I did not notice the Penia. It's here. So as you can see, we have the auth and we have the errors. So I think that we don't have. So because I did refresh the page, let's where I was looking for Penia, I did refresh the page. Let's send the data again. And as you can see now, the errors contain an email which contain an array and also the name and also the password. So these are the validation errors. If we log in successfully, let's or registering a user successfully. Let's register a new user and hit submit. And as you can see, account has been created successfully, but we did not redirect the user, so we need to redirect the user to the login page. But the important thing is that we have created a new user, so we need to redirect the user to not the home page, to direct the user to the login. So let's redirect him using the router dot push, and he will be redirected to the login page. But before we move to the login, so we need to display the validation errors. So now the validation errors are only here inside the console, but we don't see validation errors. So let's display validation errors.